you guys leaning? I don't know if you guys are leaning. Lean with it, rock with it. Lean with it, rock with it. Okay, let's see. All right. I think you guys are good. Hello there, welcome back and welcome to my channel. In case you're new, I'm Shama with the Unapologetic Happy Life, where we help you create and live the life of your dreams. So I know you're here because clearly the title might have drew you in. You want to know some tips and tricks to help you with your packing. You can probably also tell that I'm in a different spot because my background is different. It's not what you're used to. That's because I'm currently on vacation at the time of recording this video, so I figured I used these very same tips and tricks when I was packing to go to my vacation. We're also coming up upon Christmas and New Year's and all of the holidays and the traveling time, so what better time to record this video to share with you guys some tips and tricks that will help you have your travel as stress-free as possible. Well, to minimize stress, because I'm not sure any traveling will be totally stress-free, but as minimal stress as possible. I'm going to share some tips and tricks with you. Also, where I'm at, it rains every 5 minutes. So in case you're hearing any background noise, that might be what's happening. There's rain falling like literally every 5 minutes. Okay, so my first tip for you is you already know your destination, you know where you're headed. If you can, look up the temperature or the weather of your destination before you leave. That way you have an idea of the pieces of clothing that you probably should be packing, and in hand with that, plan your outfits before traveling. So take your pieces of clothes, whatever pieces of clothing you think you're gonna need or you intend on traveling with, take those, plan out outfits ahead of time, and even go one step further and take pictures of those outfits you've created, either on your person, you put those outfits on and you take pictures of that, or you lay them flat on your bed and you take pictures of that and save that in your camera roll. Create an album, a traveling album with all your outfits, because that's going to make it real easy when you're actually at your destination to just go through your camera roll or your travel log, outfit log, and you can see what outfits you have because you pre-planned properly, and so now you're at your destination. You don't have to worry about coming up with outfits right on the go. You already have your outfits pre-planned and you can just mix and match based on what the weather is like at the time of you wearing your outfit. Also, if you can, plan as many neutral pieces as possible. So when it comes to your clothing, I know sometimes we may want to pack heavy and take everything and all of our favorite items, but the best tip and the best trick is to pack as many neutral pieces of clothing as possible. That way you are able to create many outfit combinations rather than colorful items that may only be a one outfit scenario. If you have very neutral items like a black pair of pants, blue jeans, white shirts, anything neutral, brown or whatever, can be mixed and matched with other pieces to create multiple outfits. So try to create or try to pack as many neutral pieces of clothing as possible to give yourself the opportunity of creating many outfit combinations. The next tip is to pack your clothes in packing cubes or Ziploc bags or even bags that you could compress. That allows you to save more space in your luggage or your carry-on versus folding. You can fold. You can also mix and match between using packing cubes and folding. I did both. So I did have some clothes that I put in packing cubes, and I also had clothes that were just rolled or folded regularly and placed in my luggage. But if you pack in packing cubes or any type of bags, it allows you to be able to pack more stuff in a small amount of space. Packing cubes especially are really good at that. If you roll your clothes and compress them in there, they take a lot of clothes. Packing cubes, don't underestimate them. Okay, so in line with the packing cubes, if you don't have any packing cubes, don't feel the need to go and get some. You're also able to use Ziploc bags. I think Walmart and Target also sell compress bags that you can put your clothes in and then compress them. Or you could use bags as simply as bags like Shein. I recently placed an order of clothes from Shein, and instead of tossing the bags, I used the bags to store some of my clothes. So I used packing cubes, and I also used some of the Shein bags, rolled up my clothes in there, stored them in there. I use them to store my underwears, but really any type of bags that will help you be able to store a number of pieces of clothing or items in a small space to be able to be compressed, feel free to use that. Those will save you a lot of space in your luggage. Another tip is make sure you pack your shoes in bags. So again, I mentioned using Shein bags. I used Shein bags, or you can even use Ziploc bags to store your shoes. Even if it's a new pair of shoes, I had multiple pieces of new shoes that I was traveling with, but I know coming back my shoes are going to be dirty. Yes, you can always store them at the bottom of your luggage, but at the same time, if you're putting clothes on top of them, chances are your shoes have dirt on them. They're probably going to rub off on your clothes. So it's probably better to just store your shoes in bags anyway, so that way you don't have to worry about dirt getting on your new clothes. If there are pieces of clothes you didn't wear on your trip, you don't have to worry about dirt rubbing off on your new clothes or dirt getting around in your luggage as well when you're traveling. The next tip is to pack an empty bag or garbage bag, Ziploc bags, whatever, for dirty clothes, dirty underwear, whatever, when you're coming back. That is very useful if you have dirty clothes, especially if you're traveling somewhere where you're not able to do laundry. You might want to pack a small enough bag that you can separate your dirty clothes from your clean ones, so that way you're not really getting, you know, dirt and musty smell on your new clothes. So the next tip is, if you're traveling somewhere that allows you to be able to do laundry while you're on a trip, consider packing even lighter. If you're going for a 14-day trip, maybe you might want to take 7 tops, a couple bottoms, and a couple dresses, because if you're traveling somewhere that allows you to do laundry, you really don't need multiple pieces of clothing for each day. Maybe after 7 days you can actually consider doing laundry, so that way you have fresh clothes for the following week. So I would say if you're going somewhere for more than 7 days, maybe 2 weeks or more, and you're able to do laundry, consider packing enough items that will give you a couple outfit combinations for the first week, and then do your laundry so you have fresh laundry, fresh clothes for the following week. But don't overpack to try to get an outfit for every day if you're traveling for more than 7 days at a time. The next tip is to make sure you're wearing your heaviest or your bulkiest item when you're traveling. So especially if you're traveling in the winter, make sure that you're wearing your bulkiest item. If you're traveling with boots, make sure that on your travel to go and you travel to come back, your outfit, you're making use of your boots, you're making use of your jacket or your coats, scarves, anything that's going to be as bulky as possible in your luggage. Be sure to travel with that instead of putting it into your luggage, because putting it in your luggage is just going to take up space. So even if you're traveling in the winter or at any time, this could work for any season that you're traveling. I think it works just fine. Whatever piece of clothing you're traveling with, that's going to be your bulkiest item. Try to create your travel outfits around that. So for me, I was traveling to a tropical island, but where I was leaving from was winter or cold. It was fall time, it was very cold, but I'm traveling to a destination that's going to be warm, tropical island. So what I did was I had a trench coat. Yes, it's light, but the trench coat was also the heaviest item in the rest of my clothes. So I wore outfits that I could pile up. So I had leggings, I had a t-shirt, a hoodie, and my trench coat, and my heaviest shoes that I traveled with was my pair of sneakers. So I made sure that I wore that plus my scarf. The next tip is to try your very best to weigh your bags before heading to the airport. Because, let me tell you, child, the amount of people that I saw when I got to check in at the airport, I had to step aside to go through their luggage, to remove items and try to redistribute items between their luggage, or take items and put on them to reduce their weight. The headache's too much. So as much as possible, if you can, be sure to weigh your bags before heading to the airport, because one, it's going to save you travel worries as to whether you're overweight. It's going to save you on fees, so be sure to double check those fees as well before you head to the airport, so you know what you're possibly getting into. I know some airlines, I don't know that it's the same for all, but some airlines, they allow 50 pounds if you're just in regular economy. 50 pounds if you're in first class, 70 pounds, and maybe your first bag is free. But you're gonna have to pay for your first bag and possibly your second bag with some airlines. So please be sure to weigh your bags before heading to the airport. That saved me so much time, because y'all, when I tell you, my weight limit was 50 pounds, and the number of times I had to try to redistribute stuff from my luggage at my house, I weighed multiple times. I was above 50, I was at 50, and I tried to allow myself wiggle room. So I had to take my items below 50, because I know coming back I'm probably going to come up with souvenirs, I'm going to come up with more items, so I need to leave extra space in my luggage for other items that I'm going to come back with. So that really saved me the headache of having to be overweight when I got to the airport. So I already knew what my luggage weighed before heading to the airport. You can have a luggage scale, they sell those at Amazon. You can just have the scales and use that to weigh your luggage. Another simple way, if you have a scale, you weigh yourself, step on the scale, weigh yourself, then step on the scale with your luggage, and then just subtract the weight, your weight without the luggage, from the weight with your luggage, and then you will know how much your luggage actually weighs. But please be sure to weigh your luggage prior to heading to the airport. You will thank me later. Now, another tip that goes hand in hand with that is double check the terms and conditions for the baggage fees with your airline, because some airlines will charge you for the first bag. And so there are also overweight fees. For example, some airlines may say if you're over 50 pounds, even by 1 pound, 51 pounds to 70 pounds, that's an extra $100. But let me give you an example. I traveled with American Airlines. American Airlines, your first bag is $30, your second bag is $40. Your weight limit is 50 pounds. If you're overweight from 51 to 70 pounds, that's an extra $100. If you know for sure your bag weighs 51 pounds or more and there's no way you can reduce it down to 50, well, you have two options. You can either pay the $100 fee because you're overweight between 51 to 70 pounds, or you can choose to get a second check bag, which would cost you only $40. Which of the two do you think you should take? I would suggest taking the second check bag. So if you have a first check bag, $30, your second check bag is $40. That's only $70 versus a $30 for your first check bag and a $100 overweight fee. You're looking at $130. So always be sure to check the fees and do the calculation, because at the end of the day, it's probably going to be cheaper for you to check an extra bag than it will be to pay the overweight fee, because the overweight fee will probably always be higher than the price of the second check bag. So be sure to do the math calculation. I know it might be a lot of head spinning math, but be sure to check the fees and do your calculation to save yourself your coins, okay? Because we can't just be throwing our coins to these airlines. So thank me later. The next tip, if you are traveling with items that are large that can fit other smaller items in there, consider doing that. For example, I had a purse. I stuffed my purse with a couple lotions, small lotions, anything that could fit in that larger item I did, so that way it saves me even more space in my luggage. I have more space to work with versus just packing an empty purse and my socks or whatever in another bag. I just put all of them together, stuff them in there, give myself some more space. So that's another tip. The next tip is to always consider traveling with an empty water bottle. That's something I started doing recently. I started just traveling with an empty water bottle so that when I got to the airport and I passed after I went through security, I could fill in my water bottle. Now, mind you, that was pre-COVID. Now that it's post-COVID, this tip probably might not apply still, but I still do it anyways. I still do travel with my empty water bottle. I just don't fill it at the airport anymore. But at least I have an empty water bottle that if I travel somewhere, wherever I'm going, I'm able to fill it. If I'm going on a hike, I know I have a water bottle that big enough that I can fill it with water that it's going to last me for a couple hours. So consider doing that, because child, the water at the airport be expensive. They ain't cheap, okay? They are not cheap. So consider packing an empty water bottle. When you get to the airport past security, you can always fill it at the water fountains, so you have water, free water to go. The next tip is if you're having to travel and make multiple stops and multiple switches between airlines and flights. If you're traveling with checked luggage and you're traveling with a carry-on, I would highly recommend that you consider putting a few outfits in your carry-on in case your luggage goes missing. Now, if you're traveling with the same airline, even though you have to switch planes, this might not be too important because it's the same airline. Chances are high that you are going to get your luggage. But if you're having to make multiple flight changes between a lot of different airlines and you're having to check bag, the risk of your luggage going missing is much higher in those circumstances. And so I would highly recommend that you pack a few outfits in your carry-on, so that way in case your luggage does go missing by the time you get to your destination, you have a few clothing items that's going to help get you through a day or two before your luggage gets there. Hopefully it gets there, and child, if it doesn't, then you can be reimbursed, I would hope. But we're hoping this is for situations where we're hoping that even though your luggage has been misplaced, that it gets to you within a couple of days. Another tip that I have for you is, if you can, try to start packing a couple of days before you're actually leaving. Don't try to wait last minute, like a day or two before you're supposed to leave. I think you should start packing maybe a week before if you can, or maybe even more. Pack a little at a time, because that way if you need any items that you forgot to purchase and you realize while packing that you're going to need that item, you're allowing yourself some time to go ahead and run to the store and pick up those items that you may have been missing and add to your luggage, rather than packing a day before you're supposed to fly out the next day. You're not allowing yourself any time to pick up any missing items that you forgot to purchase. So these are my tips and tricks to help you save time and space and help you pack more efficiently for your next travels, because when I tell you these tips were very handy for me and useful, they were. And so I hope you find them useful as well. Drop a comment down below as to the tip that resonated with you most. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you have not yet joined us here, come on, we would love to have you. So go ahead, hit the subscribe button. It's totally free, it doesn't cost you a thing. So I would love to have you join the rest of the Unapologetics here. Thanks again for watching. And if you're traveling, I wish you safe travels, and I hope you put some of these tips and tricks to use. I love you guys so much. I will see you guys next time. But until then, remember to stay blessed and to live life unapologetically. Bye guys.